The Southeast Asian nation of Burma has a deep forest, and its plantation workers have been noticing a weird creature wandering onto their land. He would occasionally appear in the early hours of the day or at sunset. When he eventually went onto their land, they were all in awe of what they saw in the subsequent footage. The thing is currently slithering over some overgrown grass. It resembles a big cat, a leopard, a panther, or some other similar species. He unquestionably gives off the impression that he lacks both vitality and strength. He is angry when the workers manage to get him into a cage despite being unaware of what to do with him. The claws on this beast are amazing. His long, vicious claws are visible, wrapping around the metal cage. He even uses his mouth to tear at the cage. I initially believed that this person's only intimidating feature was his claws, but when he tore through sections of the metal cage, I became aware of his powerful bite. The animal's desperate attempts to escape the cage resulted in multiple fractured teeth and mouth bleeding. Numerous locals think that this is the fabled water monster from Chinese culture. Others think this is a little sun bear that might have lost his hair due to the contaminated water around his house. Nobody is certain of its nature or its origin. You can tell it has tremendous power, though, whatever it is. If you have any information regarding this creature, please share it with me in the comments. The area around Chernobyl is still very radioactively contaminated, making it one of the deadliest locations on Earth and preventing locals from returning to their homes. Despite this, the city is gradually being taken back by nature. The radiation's impacts are regrettably causing misery in many species living there. Recently, a private drone monitoring the area took footage of a moose. The animal, at first look, seemed to be a conventional one, but it quickly became clear that this was no typical moose. The animal's head was missing, leaving only a small stump where it should have been as it was seen running over the road and into the forest. The radiation levels at Chernobyl are still profoundly affecting the local animals decades after the accident. What more deformed creatures might be hiding in Chernobyl is unknown, but this headless moose is undoubtedly among the strangest and spookiest images ever to be recorded on camera. Boars have appeared in a few videos in the past, and you are aware of how harmful they may be if you have any knowledge of them. Here in the United States, they have become a major issue. The only real predators for them are humans. I am still determining what this person is doing in the following video. The hog is visible close to the brush pile, and when the dog lunges at the guy, he veers off and pursues him. For God's sake, have your rifle ready. Although the man is knocked over, the boar doesn't chase him very far. Fortunately, the dog diverts the boar, allowing the man to stand up. The ease with which the man can pin that enormous hog down strikes me as a rather unusual aspect of this film. I'd like to hear some suggestions from seasoned hog hunters. A man should not have been able to pin such an animal in any way. I surmise that the hog must have become exhausted from the dog's pursuit of him. That might explain why the hog gave in so easily, and perhaps even explain why the man did not pull his firearm. Please share your thoughts on this capture and any hog hunting experience you may have in the comments section. The amazing footage was captured by two friends who were, by chance, on their way to check their trail cameras. They saw what they believed to be a dead deer in front of them while traveling along the trail. She had been caught in some rusted barbed wire, they discovered when they drew nearer. Even as one man starts to cut her free, she doesn't move. The man observes how her neck is twisted, but she eventually leaves after realizing these wonderful individuals are there to assist. This video is very hilarious. Okay, this little groundhog, popularly known as Chunk, has been stomping on the veggies in this man's garden for the past 4 years. A chunk may perform the same thing in several videos on the Delaware Man. He chooses a vegetable and consumes it in front of the camera. The finest thing is how defiantly he stands in front of the camera while eating them. I don't know, I thought this was hilarious. Some people claimed he was acting deliberately, but I'm confident that most animals' brains don't function that way. If you know otherwise, please let me know. In any case, this is too good. Animal society can be a harsh place, where the principle of the fittest always prevails. As most people know, male deer are infamous for fighting with their antlers, and a fresh find captured on a trail camera has raised the stakes. A deer appears to be traveling through a snowy setting. Further examination reveals that this deer carries the complete head, antlers, and all in its mouth, on top of the antlers of another deer. It is both unusual and disturbing to see this hideous image. Additionally, it demonstrates how far animals will go to survive. It makes sense that people find the animal kingdom to be fascinating, and occasionally a scary place. Some observers have hypothesized that the deer used the head as a kind of intimidation while strutting about. That isn't accurate. He seems to be merely trying to live. The idea that unidentified animals might live in caves is one of the wackiest occurrences recently going viral online. For those who don't know, living in a cave is not as unusual as you may assume. Homes have been carved into the local rock for ages in secluded and inaccessible areas of Turkey and Tunisia. But those aren't the individuals we're referring to. We're curious about the undiscovered animals that might live in these obscure locations. Let's look at it. The video opens with the luminous eyes of a creature that doesn't quite look human. Finally, the horned monster video genuinely makes me feel somewhat uneasy. It looks like a Goatman cryptid. Skulls of more than 70 people and more were discovered within a cave years ago. Perhaps that was a colony of dead people, or something more sinister was happening. I'm not certain. How likely do you folks believe it is that these species may be found in caves? This video of a heron battling a water snake is very cool. Fish is the main food that water snakes consume. Therefore, that's what the snake is interested in. The snake is after the fish that the heron has taken over. The heron gives the snake some solid beak hammers to the head as it grabs on. I'm not sure how many of those that snake will be able to consume. Worstationi's flosswork to pentent, but once more, he has a firm grip. You can see that both of them are less at ease out here as the fight progresses farther into the sea. The heron strikes the snake with his beak several times before dragging it underwater. You can notice blood in the bird's white feathers once he reappears. It signals their split because the heron can swim safely to shore. Therefore, that's from the heron. He is clearly fatigued. If the blood is indeed from the heron, it is a flesh wound that will mend. There won't likely be any wing damage. Overall, the footage was captured in a fairly amazing way. Can you ever imagine finding this by accident? Watch how this guy captures this catfish in the next heron video. Dives below the ground and stabs the man with his beak. He is stabbed through the body. After carrying his catch through the grass, his action may even be more amazing than the fish itself. He sends this bad boy down the throat after giving him a couple of tosses. That is crazy. These herons are truly amazing birds. This picture is relatively commonplace at first sight. However, continue to the bottom left corner to see an unidentified monster. Its identity is a subject of debate. Some say it's a regular dog, while others say it's a stranger animal. I perceive an ape when I look at it. Even though a dog would be the most likely answer, I can't figure it out. Even I have no idea which way the unidentified creature is facing. Is his head turned away from us, or is it cocked downward? It's also noteworthy that the monster was seen outside in broad daylight. That says to me that the creature is at ease in its environment. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. A viewer submitted this. It begins with, "This is Rick. I take pictures of wildlife occasionally. Since I've been doing this for 10 years, something I've never seen suddenly appeared on my trail camera. About 10 miles from my house, I was in the middle of a national park, deep in the woods. I had just set up camp because I planned to stay there for a few days. I put up my trail camera on the game route to capture a fox or bobcat I had previously spotted. I've fought in these woods before. I've spent a significant portion of this decade following and recording the wildlife in this area. You name it, and I've probably documented it on camera. Even the elusive mountain lion that no one else seems to be able to capture, bobcats, foxes, and deer. I am familiar with animal behavior and patterns. My favorite location is this area that appears next to a game trail. Usually it is humming with activity. It's the ideal setting for someone like me. But this time, something was strange right away. I'd seen some bizarre things before the strange encounter. The animals had been behaving off for a few days. Deer had been running away like they were terrified. The normal nervous chatter of squirrels had increased. I can still recall having the feeling that someone was watching me. Additionally, I usually enjoy listening to the sounds of the forest. The sound of rustling leaves, distant bird sounds, and even animals scampering, but everything was strangely calm on this particular day. It almost seemed as though the jungle was holding its breath. Even the typical deer trails appeared to be unaltered. The typical hoofprints were not present. At that point, I became aware of odd ground patterns that appeared to have been caused by a large object dragging itself along. The strange silence combined with these and whatever was outside was new, and I couldn't place it. Then one night something entered the frame of view of my camera. But it wasn't a creature. It was whitish and over 6 feet tall. It was bipedal, had a human-like appearance, and moved extremely slowly. Its dazzling white skin color was what caught the most attention. I was unable to comprehend what I was seeing. It had a haggard, nearly human-like visage with an unsettling alien appearance. Small and appearing to shine, its eyes created a peculiar clicking sound that my camera captured. I discovered other pictures with this menacing figure in the background as I looked through the other pictures. What's the creepiest part? What were those odd clicking noises that my camera recorded? Unusual clicking sounds that are unlike any animal I've heard before? It resembled a language in many ways. My hair stood on edge at the mere mention of that. Yes, I was frightened, but I was also captivated. This was unlike anything I had ever seen. Even the name of it eluded me. Possibly a skinwalker? I eventually went to sleep that night, but the very next night it was back in plain sight. It was twisted and wrong in a way that I find difficult to describe. Staring into those eyes was like staring into the eyes of an imposter, something that is out of time. I couldn't get rid of my sense of dread. The image was quite distinct. There was no wolf or bear here. Something else. This. I should have left. But following that sighting, I made another unsuccessful attempt to locate it. But now, whenever I'm in the woods, I can't get rid of the feeling that someone is watching me. The interaction made a lasting impression. Each sound, including the rustling shrubs and the cracking leaves, confuses my head. I've discovered that even the smallest noises can cause me to jump at shadows. It's as if I anticipate seeing it again constantly. The worst days are the evenings. Sometimes I can still hear the same clicking sounds from the woods in the video. I had a hard time getting rid of this lingering unease. Unfortunately, it's now a constant in my life, a strange outcome to a situation I never thought would be conceivable. My entire world has changed. It might be fear. It might be curiosity. However, I am certain of one thing. I can't wait to learn more. This trail camera capture is extremely cool. As you can see, the little squirrel was foraging without thinking about anything when the other animal tried to feed him out of the blue. Unbelievable. I envision the hawk sitting atop his tree, watching for the ideal moment to strike. He entered there like a lightning bolt, I mean. Additionally, you can make out that the squirrel had to alter his posture or duck abruptly, but managed to avoid being hit. If the hawk hadn't been surprised, he wouldn't have misjudged his attack and slammed into the tree. This small squirrel has a good chance of surviving to fight another day while the hawk goes back to the drawing board. This next brief film might clarify the previous one and demonstrate how the squirrel dodged the hawk. It can be their will to live. Take a look at how this thing lands. And he runs off. He did not even think twice. Let's watch it once more. This little person simply rides the enormous tree down, crashing into the ground, and then he vanishes. I'm shocked he managed to flee from that. I've highlighted a handful of these raptors, or birds of prey as some people prefer to call them, on this channel. Sincerity be damned, it's just that I'm in awe of their hunting techniques and accuracy. They are savages, I mean. This video shows an eagle and its young in its nest on a tree's side. All of a sudden, the strike takes place. A horned owl at breakneck speed has stolen an eaglet from the nest. Owls used to conjure up images of brilliant eyes and cuddliness for me. The big horned owl, another name for the horned owl, is a cunning hunter. They are renowned for being resilient and adaptable. Moreover, they are among North America's biggest and most dominant owls. They can catch and kill their prey with the help of their powerful pair of paws and pointed beak. Additionally, they can kill prey that is much bigger than themselves.